Captain Hana gripped the arms of her command chair as another explosion rocked her ship. The merchant vessel Prosperity's Dream shook like a leaf in a storm. Red warning lights flashed across the bridge and smoke filled the air. "Hull breach on deck 7, shouted her engineer over the noise. "We're losing life support in that section." Hana watched her screen in horror. The 3 escort ships that had been protecting her cargo convoy were now burning wrecks floating in space. The pirates had come out of nowhere, jumping out of hyperspace, like hungry wolves. Their black ships moved fast and hit hard. The leader of the pirate fleet was an alien called Vestan. Hana had heard stories about him in the trading posts. He was cruel and smart, leading a group of different alien species who worked together to steal and kill. They called themselves the Crimson Fleet because they painted their ships with the blood of their victims. "Captain, they're demanding we surrender," said her communications officer, his voice shaking with fear. Hana looked at the main screen. Vestan's ugly face stared back at her. His skin was dark green and covered with scars. His yellow eyes glowed with hate. Behind him she could see other aliens from his crew, some with tentacles, others with sharp teeth, all of them wanting to hurt humans. "Human female." Vestan spoke in broken English, his voice like grinding metal. "You give us your cargo and your crew. We might let some live. You fight, we kill all." Hana's hands shook, but she kept her voice steady. "We're just merchants. We don't have anything valuable." Vestan laughed, a sound that made everyone on the bridge feel sick. "You carry rare metals from the inner worlds. We know. Also, human slaves bring good price in outer rim markets." The word slaves made Hana's blood run cold. She had 60 people on her ship, merchants, engineers, and their families. Some were just children going to new worlds to start better lives. "We will not surrender," Hana said firmly. "Then you die slow," Vestan replied, and cut the communication. More explosions hit the ship. The Prosperity's Dream was not built for fighting. It was a cargo ship with thin armor and no real weapons. The pirates had over 20 ships, each one designed for war. "Shields down to 30%, called out the tactical officer. "We can't take much more of this." Hana made a quick decision. She reached for an old control panel that most people had forgotten about. It was connected to an emergency beacon that used Earth military frequencies from decades ago. Most people thought those frequencies were dead, that no one listened to them anymore. "Captain, what are you doing?" asked her first officer. "Sending a message home," Hana replied, her fingers working quickly on the old controls. "Maybe someone will hear us." She typed in the emergency codes that every human ship captain learned but hoped never to use. The message was simple. "Mayday, Mayday. Human ships under attack. Need immediate help. Crimson Fleet pirates. Location." She added their position in space and hit send. The message shot out into space faster than light, traveling toward Earth. Hana didn't know if anyone would receive it. She didn't know if anyone would care. Earth was far away, and this part of space was supposed to be safe. Another massive explosion shook the ship. This time, the lights went out completely. Emergency power kicked in, bathing everything in red. "Light! That was our main engine!" the engineer shouted. "We're dead in space!" Through the main window, Hana could see the pirate ships moving closer. They looked like metal sharks swimming through the darkness of space. Their weapons glowed with deadly energy. "Captain," her communications officer said quietly, "I'm picking up something strange." "What do you mean?" Hana asked. "There's a signal coming from the edge of the system. It's very faint, but it's there." Hana felt a small spark of hope, but it died quickly. Even if someone had heard their message, help was too far away. The pirates would board their ship in minutes. Vestan's face appeared on the screen again. "Time is up, human. Prepare to be boarded. My crew is hungry for blood." The pirate ships surrounded the Prosperity's Dream like vultures around a dying animal. Hana could see smaller ships launching from the bigger ones, boarding craft filled with alien warriors ready to break into her ship. "All crew, this is the captain," Hana announced over the ship's speakers. "Prepare for boarding. Protect the children first. Do not resist if they try to take you alive. We will find a way through this." But deep down, Hana knew the truth. The Crimson Fleet didn't leave witnesses. They would take what they wanted and then kill everyone. She closed her eyes and thought about her family back on Earth. She would never see them again. The first boarding craft attached to their hull with a loud bang. Then another. And another. The pirates were cutting through the ship's walls with laser torches. Soon they would be inside. Hana opened her eyes and looked at her crew. They were scared, but brave. They were humans, and humans didn't give up easily. Whatever happens, she told them, remember that we are from Earth. We are stronger than they think. Far away, on a space station orbiting Saturn's moon Titan, Commander Minho was drinking coffee when an alarm started ringing. He almost dropped his cup as he ran to his control station. "What's happening?" he asked the duty officer. "Emergency signal, sir. Old military frequency. Someone's asking for help." Minho looked at the message on his screen. His face went pale as he read about the human ships under attack. He grabbed his phone and called Earth Defense Command. "Admiral Su-Yung, we have a situation." Back on the Prosperity's Dream, the pirates had almost cut through the hull. Hana could hear them talking in their alien languages, excited about the treasure they would find. She looked out the window one more time. Space was dark and empty. No help was coming, or so she thought. Admiral Su-Yung stood in the command center of Earth Defense Headquarters, looking at the big screen that showed a map of known space. Red dots marked where the attack was happening. It was far from Earth, in a part of space where humans rarely went. "How long ago did we get the message?" she asked Commander Minho, who had rushed to Earth as soon as he received the emergency call. 47 minutes ago, Admiral. The signal came through the old military channels that we thought nobody used anymore." Su-Yung touched her chin, thinking hard. She was a small woman with gray hair, but everyone in the Earth military respected her. She had fought in the wars that helped humans reach the stars. "What ships do we have in that area?" she asked. "None, Admiral. Our closest patrol ship is 6 hours away. By the time they get there, the pirates will be gone," Su-Yung finished. She knew how these attacks worked. The aliens would take what they wanted and disappear into deep space. "But Admiral," Minho said carefully, "we do have the Indomitable." Su-Yung's eyes widened. The Indomitable was Earth's newest and most powerful warship. It had been built in secret over the past 5 years, using technology that no alien species had ever seen. The ship had never been in a real fight. "The Indomitable is still being tested," she said. "We don't know if all its systems work properly. Admiral, there are 60 humans about to die out there. Maybe more." Su-Yung looked at the red dots on the screen again. She thought about the families on those ships, the children who were probably hiding and crying. She thought about the message that Captain Hana had sent, a desperate call for help from fellow humans. "Get me Captain Jiho," she ordered. Captain Jiho was in his quarters on the Indomitable, reading reports about the ship's new weapons systems. He was a tall man with serious eyes and black hair. When his phone rang, he answered immediately. "Admiral, Jiho, I need you to take the Indomitable on its first real mission." Jiho stood up quickly. "Yes, Admiral. What are our orders?" "Human ships are under attack by the Crimson Fleet. You need to get there fast and stop them." Jiho's face became hard. He had heard stories about the Crimson Fleet. They were some of the worst pirates in the galaxy, known for killing humans just for fun. "How long do we have?" he asked. "Not long. The attack started almost an hour ago. We'll be ready to launch in 10 minutes, Jiho promised. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Lieutenant Commander Unji was checking the ship's systems when Captain Jiho arrived. She was young but very smart, one of the best officers in the Earth. "Fleet, Yunji, set course for the Kepler system, maximum speed," Jiho ordered as he sat in his captain's chair. "Sir, that will put a lot of stress on the engines. We've never pushed them that hard before. Today we find out what this ship can really do. How long to get there?" Yunji worked quickly on her computer. "If we use the new hyperspace drive at full power, 28 minutes. Do it." The Indomitable was like no ship that humans had ever built before. It was black as space itself, with smooth lines that made it look like a hunting animal. Its hull was made from new metals that could stop almost any weapon. Inside, it had computers so smart they were almost alive. "Arya, are you ready?" Jiho asked. A female voice answered from the ship's speakers. Aria was the ship's artificial intelligence, built to help in combat. All systems ready, Captain. I have analyzed the information about the Crimson Fleet. They have 53 ships of various sizes. Can we handle that many? Unknown, Captain. But I am eager to find out. The Indomitable jumped into hyperspace, traveling faster than any human ship had ever gone before. In the engine room, Chief Engineer Nari watched the power levels carefully. The new fusion engines were working perfectly, but she knew they were pushing the limits. 28 minutes later, the ship dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler system. Captain Jiho looked at the main screen and saw the battle. The pirate ships were like a swarm of insects around the damaged human merchant vessel. Aria, scan the area. I want to know exactly what we're facing. Scanning now, Captain. I count 51 active pirate vessels. 2 appear to have been destroyed in the initial attack. The human ship Prosperity's Dream is heavily damaged but still has life signs aboard. Jiho nodded. Open a channel to all ships in the area. Channel open, sir. Jiho's voice was calm and cold as ice. This is Captain Jiho of the Earth Battle. Cruiser Indomitable. You are attacking human civilians. You have 60 seconds to withdraw from this system or face total destruction. On the pirate ships, the aliens stopped what they were doing. They looked at each other with confusion. Many had never heard of Earth. Some had heard rumors about humans, but they thought humans were weak. Vextar laughed when he heard the message. One ship thinks it can fight my entire fleet. These humans are either very brave or very stupid. His lieutenant, a creature with 6 arms and red eyes, looked worried. Sir, should we scan their ship? See what weapons they have? Why? It's just one ship. We have 51. Even if they have good weapons, they cannot fight us all. But some of the other pirate captains were not so sure. They had heard whispers about humans in the dark corners of space stations. Stories about a species that had conquered their own world by fighting everything on it. Stories about creatures that never gave up no matter how bad things got. On the Indomitable, Tactical Officer Dong Yun was preparing the weapons. Sir, all weapon systems are charged and ready. The railguns are loaded, plasma cannons are hot, and the quantum torpedoes are armed. How many pirates have started to withdraw? Jiho asked. None, sir. In fact, they seem to be moving closer together, like they're planning to attack us all at once. Jiho smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. Then they've made their choice. Area, begin countdown. 60 seconds remaining, Aria announced on all frequencies. On the Prosperity's Dream, Captain Hana heard the countdown and felt hope for the first time in an hour. One Earth ship against 51 pirates seemed impossible, but it was still hope. 30 seconds remaining. The pirate ships began to move into attack formation. Vextar gave orders to his fleet. All ships, target that human vessel. Show them what happens when they threaten the Crimson Fleet. 10 seconds remaining. Captain Jiho looked at his crew. They were ready. Remember, he told them, we are not just fighting for those people on the merchant ship. We are showing the galaxy what humans can do. We are showing them that Earth protects its own. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Captain Jiho's voice was calm when he gave the order that would change everything. Weapons free. Show them what Earth brings to the galaxy. The Indomitable came alive like a sleeping dragon. All along its black hull, weapon ports opened. The railgun batteries turned toward their targets with mechanical precision. In the weapons bay, Tactical Officer Dong Yun watched his screens as the ship's computers selected the first targets. Firing railguns, Dong Yun announced. The first volley was silent in the vacuum of space, but deadly beyond anything the aliens had ever seen. Tungsten rods, each one the size of a telephone pole, shot out of the Indomitable at incredible speed. They moved so fast that the pirate ships didn't have time to react. The first rod hit a medium-sized pirate vessel and went through it like a bullet through paper. The alien ship exploded in a ball of fire and metal. The second rod destroyed another ship instantly, then another, and another. What is happening? Vextar screamed at his crew. How are they destroying our ships so easily? His science officer, a creature with tentacles for arms, worked frantically at his controls. Sir, they're firing solid. Projectiles at extreme velocity. Our energy shields are useless against them. On the Indomitable, Chief Engineer Nari monitored the ship's power systems. The railguns used enormous amounts of energy, but the ship's new fusion antimatter engines provided all the power they needed. "Engineering reports all systems normal," she called out to the bridge. "We can keep this up all day." Captain Jiho watched the tactical display as more pirate ships died. "Target their larger vessels next. Take out their command ships." The plasma cannons joined the attack. These weapons had been built using alien technology that humans had found and improved. The aliens had never seen their own weapons used against them with such deadly effect. Streams of superheated plasma cut through space like swords of light. Where they touched the pirate ships, metal melted and atmosphere rushed out into space. The aliens inside screamed as their ships died around them. 12 enemy vessels destroyed, Arya reported in her calm voice. 39 remaining. Vexitar could not believe what he was seeing. In less than 2 minutes, he had lost almost a quarter of his fleet to one human ship. "All vessels, concentrate fire on the humans. Destroy them now." The remaining pirate ships turned all their weapons toward the Indomitable. Energy beams and missiles filled space as 51 alien vessels fired at once. The attack was so massive that it lit up the darkness like a small star. But the human ship was ready. Its adaptive armor plating absorbed the energy weapons and spread the heat across the hull. Point defense systems shot down incoming missiles with laser bursts. The few hits that got through barely scratched the Indomitable's armor. "Damage report," Captain Jiho asked calmly. "Hull temperature elevated in sections 7 and 12, reported Damage Control Officer Kyung. "No structural damage. All systems operating normally." The aliens could not understand it. Their most powerful weapons had barely marked the human ship. What kind of technology did these creatures have? "Sir," Dong-Yun called out from his weapons station. "Quantum torpedoes are ready to fire." Jiho nodded. It was time to show the aliens humanity's most advanced weapon. "Fire quantum torpedoes, full spread." 6 glowing projectiles shot out from the Indomitable. They looked small compared to the massive ships around them, but they carried destruction beyond imagination. Each torpedo contained a small amount of antimatter held in a quantum field. The first torpedo hit a large pirate cruiser. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then space itself seemed to tear open as matter and antimatter met. The explosion was so bright that every ship in the system had to dim their screens to avoid being blinded. When the light faded, the pirate cruiser was gone. Not destroyed, simply gone, as if it had never existed. The other 5 torpedoes found their targets and created 5 more holes in space where pirate ships used to be. "Impossible," whispered Vexitar. His yellow eyes were wide with terror. "What kind of monsters are these humans?" On the Indomitable, the crew worked with smooth efficiency. They had trained for years for this moment, but none of them had expected it to be so one-sided. The alien pirates feared throughout this part of the galaxy were being destroyed like children's toys. "Enemy fleet is breaking formation," reported Communications Officer Young-Soo. "I'm intercepting their transmissions. They're calling for retreat." Captain Jiho listened to the alien voices on the radio. Even though he couldn't understand their languages, he could hear the fear. These were supposed to be the toughest pirates in space, but they sounded like frightened children. "Let me hear what they're saying," Jiho ordered. Young-Soo worked quickly to translate the alien languages. "Sir, they're calling us void hunters and nightmare creatures. One captain is saying that humans must be demons from the dark between stars." Lieutenant Commander Yunji looked up from her station. "Sir, several pirate ships are trying to escape. Should we pursue?" Jiho thought for a moment. The human merchant ship was still in danger, and there were still many pirates left, but he also wanted to send a message to the galaxy. "Disable their engines, but don't destroy them unless they keep fighting. I want some of them to live to tell others what happened here." The Indomitable moved through the battlefield like a shark among fish. Its advanced engines let it turn and accelerate faster than any alien ship. When pirate vessels tried to run, precise railgun shots destroyed their engines, leaving them floating helplessly in space. But not all the pirates were ready to give up. Vexitar still had his largest ships, and his pride would not let him retreat. All remaining vessels ram. "The human ship! If we cannot destroy them with weapons, we'll crush them with our hulls!" A dozen large pirate ships turned toward the Indomitable and accelerated to maximum speed. They planned to crash into the human vessel and destroy it through collision. Sir, multiple ships on ramming course, Dong-Yun reported. Captain Jiho smiled grimly. They want to play ramming games? Area, activate the gravitational manipulator. Gravitational manipulator online, Area responded. This was the Indomitable's most secret weapon. Using technology that humans barely understood, the ship could create small gravity fields in space. The pirates charging toward them had no idea what was about to happen. Creating gravity well directly ahead of lead vessel, Area announced. Space. In front of the charging pirate ships suddenly became heavy. It was like running into invisible quicksand. The lead ship's hull began to bend and crack as artificial gravity crushed it from all sides. The other ramming ships tried to avoid the gravity well, but Arya created more fields around them. One by one, the massive pirate vessels were caught and crushed like cans in a giant's fist. "That's impossible!" Vextar screamed. "They're controlling gravity itself!" On the merchant ship Prosperity's Dream, Captain Hana watched the battle in amazement. She had seen many fights in space before, but nothing like this. The human warship moved like it was dancing, easily avoiding enemy fire while destroying everything that threatened it. "Captain," her communications officer said, "the human ship is calling us." Captain Jiho's face appeared on Hana's screen. He looked calm despite the battle raging around them. "Captain Hana, this is Captain Jiho of the Earth vessel Indomitable. Are you and your crew safe?" "We're alive, but barely," Hana replied. "Thank you for coming. We thought no one would hear our call. Earth always protects its citizens. We'll have this cleaned up shortly." The battle was almost over. Of the 51 pirate ships that had attacked the merchant convoy, only 15 were still able to fight. The rest were either destroyed or floating helplessly with damaged engines. Vextar looked at his tactical display and saw the truth. His mighty Crimson Fleet had been destroyed by one human ship. His dream of controlling this part of space was over, but he still had one card to play. "Human Captain," he called on the radio, "I challenge you to single combat, ship to ship. Winner takes all." Captain Jiho's response was cold as space itself. "I don't negotiate with pirates. Surrender now or be destroyed." "Then we all die together!" Vexatar screamed and ordered his remaining ships to set their reactors to overload. If he couldn't win, he would take the humans with him. The moment Vexatar ordered his ships to overload their reactors, Captain Jiho knew the aliens had made a fatal mistake. They thought like aliens, all emotion and pride. But humans thought differently. "Arya, scan for reactor overloads," Jiho commanded. "Detecting energy spikes in 15 enemy vessels," Arya replied instantly. "They are attempting to create a chain reaction that will destroy everything in this area, including the merchant ship." Lieutenant Commander Yunji looked worried. "Sir, if all those reactors explode at once, the blast will be enormous. Even our armor might not protect us." But Captain Jiho was already thinking 3 steps ahead. This was what made humans dangerous in space. Not just their technology, but the way their minds worked. Where aliens saw only attack or retreat, humans saw options that others couldn't imagine. "Power down all systems except life support," Jiho ordered. "Sir?" Dong-Yun looked confused. "If we power down now, we'll be helpless. Do it. Make it look like we're surrendering." The Indomitable suddenly went dark. Its weapons stopped firing, its engines shut down, and even its lights went out. To the pirates, it looked like the human ship was giving up. "Ha!" Vextar laughed. "The humans know they are beaten, but it's too late to surrender now." But this was exactly what Captain Jiho wanted. With their ship appearing helpless, the remaining pirate vessels moved closer together, wanting to watch the humans die. They stopped their random movement and formed a tight group. "Now," Jiho whispered. The Indomitable exploded back to life. Every system came online at once, but now the ship's computers had used the quiet time to calculate the exact position of every enemy vessel. Area had mapped their locations, their speeds, even the timing of their reactor overloads. Quantum torpedoes. "Precise targeting," Jiho ordered. "Hit their reactor control systems, not their hulls." What happened next showed why humans were different from every other species in the galaxy. Instead of trying to destroy the enemy ships, the Indomitable fired its torpedoes at tiny targets, the computer systems that controlled the reactor overloads. The C. Quantum torpedoes were so accurate that they could hit a target the size of a person from across the solar system. Each torpedo struck a different ship's reactor controls, shutting down the overload sequence without destroying the vessel. "Impossible precision," whispered one of the alien communications officers on a nearby pirate ship. "They stopped our reactors, without killing us." Vextar stared at his screens in shock. His final desperate plan had failed. The humans had somehow saved their own lives while also preventing the pirates from committing suicide. "Attention all alien vessels," Captain Jiho's voice echoed across space. "Your reactor overload attempts have been neutralized. You now have two choices: surrender and be treated according to galactic law, or continue fighting and be destroyed. You have 30 seconds to decide." On the pirate ships, panic spread through the crews. They had never fought an enemy like this before. Most alien species fought in predictable ways, either with overwhelming force or clever tricks. But humans combined both approaches and added something else: mercy for those who surrendered, but absolute ruthlessness for those who didn't. Communications. Officer Young-Soo monitored the alien radio channels. "Sir, I'm picking up conversations on multiple frequencies. They're talking about surrender." "What are they saying exactly?" Jiho asked. Young-Soo listened carefully to the translations coming through his computer. "One captain is saying that humans fight like metal gods. Another is asking how we can be so precise with our weapons. They can't understand how we disable their reactors without destroying their ships." Marine Lieutenant Seojin stood ready with her combat team in case any aliens tried to board the Indomitable, but she was starting to realize that might not be necessary. "Sir, it sounds like they're more scared than angry now. This was the psychological warfare that made humans so effective in space. Other species fought until they won or died. Humans showed that they could kill you easily, but chose not to if you were smart enough to surrender. It was more terrifying than simple violence." 15 seconds remaining, Arya announced. On Vextar's flagship, his crew looked at their leader, with fear in their eyes. They had followed him because he seemed strong and undefeatable, but now they saw him beaten by creatures they had never even heard of before. "Sir," his first officer said carefully, "maybe we should surrender. They said they would follow galactic law." "Never!" Vextar roared. "I am the terror of the spaceways. I do not surrender to anyone." But around him, other ships were already powering down their weapons. The smaller pirate captains didn't want to die for Vextar's pride. One by one, alien voices came over the radio. "This is Captain Zektor, of the vessel Bloodfang. We surrender to the Earth ship. This is the Void Stalker. We lay down our weapons. Dark Hunter surrendering to human vessel." Within minutes, 12 of the 15 remaining ships had surrendered. Only Vextar and 2 loyal captains continued to fight. "Arya, what's the status of the non-surrendering vessels?" Jiho asked. 3 ships remain hostile. They are attempting to target the merchant vessel Prosperity's Dream again." Captain Jiho's expression became cold as ice. The pirates had been given a chance to surrender, and most had taken it. But those who continued to threaten innocent humans would learn why Earth had become humanity's home by conquering every dangerous creature on the planet. "Target the 3 hostile vessels. Use railguns. Full power." The Indomitable's weapons spoke again, but this time there was no mercy. 3 tungsten rods, moving at a significant fraction of light speed, hit the remaining pirate ships. The alien vessels didn't just explode. They were completely destroyed, turned into clouds of hot gas and metal fragments. Vextar's last words were cut off as his ship disintegrated around him. The battle was over. The legendary Crimson Fleet, terror of the trade routes for years, had been destroyed by a single human warship. Of the 51 ships that had attacked the merchant convoy, 12 had surrendered, and the rest were either destroyed or disabled. "Damage. Report," Captain Jiho requested. "Minor heat damage to outer hull sections," reported Damage Control Officer Kyung. "All primary systems functioning normally, ammunition levels at 68%. Jiho nodded with satisfaction. His ship had fought an entire pirate fleet and barely been scratched, but more importantly, they had shown something new to the galaxy. Humans could be both merciful and deadly, depending on the situation. Medical Officer Hyunwoo was all ready, preparing to treat any wounded from the merchant ship. "Sir, should I prepare medical teams for the surrendering pirate vessels as well?" "Yes. Any wounded prisoners will be treated according to Earth medical standards." This confused many of the alien pirates who were listening to the human communications. In their cultures, prisoners were usually tortured or enslaved. The idea that the humans would heal their enemies was strange and frightening. Science Officer. Minji was studying the surrendered alien ships with her sensors. "Captain, I'm detecting interesting technology on several of the pirate vessels. Their energy shields use a completely different approach than ours." "Scan everything. But don't take anything without permission. We'll negotiate with the aliens later if they want to trade technology." On the merchant ship Prosperity's Dream, Captain Hana was trying to understand what she had just witnessed. The battle had lasted less than an hour, but it would change everything. Humans were no longer the weak species hiding in the outer rim of the galaxy. "Captain Jiho," she called on the radio, "how can we ever thank you?" "No thanks needed, Captain Hana. We're all humans. We take care of each other." But across the galaxy, alien governments and military leaders were already receiving reports about the battle. The news traveled faster than light through the communication networks that connected thousands of worlds. A single human warship had destroyed the most feared pirate fleet in known space. Everything had changed. The aftermath of the battle was stranger than the fighting itself. Captain Jiho stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, looking at the 12 surrendered pirate ships floating nearby. Their crews waited nervously for whatever the humans would do to them. "Captain," Communications Officer Youngsu reported, "we're receiving surrender confirmations from all remaining vessels. They're asking what happens to them now." Jiho thought carefully. This moment would be remembered across the galaxy. How Earth treated defeated enemies would shape how other species viewed humanity for generations. "Tell them they will be taken to the nearest neutral station for processing according to galactic law. Wounded will receive medical care. Those who cooperate will be treated fairly." The alien prisoners couldn't believe what they were hearing. Most species in the galaxy killed captured pirates or sold them as slaves. The idea that humans would follow legal procedures was shocking. On the pirate ship Bloodfang, Captain Zektor spoke quietly to his crew. "These humans are not what we expected. They could have killed us all, but they chose not to." Meanwhile, Medical Officer Hyun-woo was coordinating rescue operations. "Captain, the merchant ship has 17 wounded crew members. I'd like to bring them aboard for treatment." "Do it. And check the pirate ships too. Anyone who needs medical help gets it." Lieutenant Commander Yoonji monitored the communications between the surrendered ships. "Sir, the alien crews are talking among themselves. Our translators are picking up some interesting conversations." "What are they saying?" "They're trying to understand why we fight so differently." One alien officer said that humans fight like predators but think like healers. "They can't figure out how we can be so deadly in combat but so careful about protecting civilians." Science Officer Minji looked up from her analysis station. "Captain, I've finished scanning the alien technology. Their shield systems are actually quite advanced, but they're designed to stop energy weapons. They never considered that someone might use kinetic projectiles like our railguns." This was typical of how the galaxy worked. Each species developed technology based on their own way of thinking. The aliens built defenses against the weapons they understood, but humans approached problems differently, combining old ideas like railguns with new technology like quantum targeting systems. "Sir," Tactical Officer Dong-yun called out, "I'm detecting new ships entering the system." Captain Jiho tensed. "More pirates?" "Unknown. The ships are broadcasting neutral trader identification codes, but they're moving carefully, like they're not sure what they'll find here." On the main screen, 6 merchant vessels appeared at the edge of the system. They had heard the emergency signals and come to help, but they arrived to find the battle already over. The sight that greeted them was beyond their imagination. The feared Crimson Fleet was either destroyed or surrendering to a single black human warship. Captain Zelmar. of the Galactic Trade Federation ship Prophet's End opened a communication channel. He was a tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms, representing one of the oldest trading civilizations in the galaxy. Unknown Earth vessel, this is Captain Zelmar of the Trade Federation. We received distress calls from this system. Do you require assistance? Captain Jiho appeared on Zelmar's screen. The alien captain had expected to see either a primitive human or some kind of monster, based on the stories he'd heard. Instead, he saw a calm, professional military officer. Captain Zelmar, this is Captain Jiho of the Earth battlecruiser Indomitable. The situation is under control. We have rescued the human merchant vessel and captured the remaining pirates. Zelmar looked at his tactical display, which showed the debris of dozens of destroyed ships. You defeated the entire Crimson Fleet? By yourself? The pirates made poor tactical decisions. Jiho replied simply. Word of the battle spread through. The trader ships faster than light. Within hours, every major trading post and government center in this part of the galaxy would know that Earth had announced its presence in a very dramatic way. But the most important conversation was happening on a different frequency. Admiral Suyong was calling from Earth, her face appearing on the private command channel. Jiho, I've been monitoring the situation. Status report. Mission successful, Admiral. All human civilians rescued. Pirate fleet neutralized. 12 enemy vessels surrendered and in custody. Admiral Suyong smiled with pride. Any damage to the Indomitable? Minor heat scarring on the outer hull. All systems operational. The ship performed beyond expectations. And the crew? No casualties, Admiral. The crew performed excellently under fire. What neither of them said, but both understood, was that this single battle had changed everything. For decades, humans had been seen as a minor species from the galaxy's edge. Now they would be viewed very differently. Medical Officer Hyunwoo called from the medical bay. Captain, I've finished treating the wounded from the merchant ship. Captain Hana would like to speak with you. Captain Hana appeared on Jiho's personal communication screen. She looked tired, but grateful. Captain Jiho, I don't know how to thank you. You saved 60 lives today. We're all humans, Captain Hana. It's what we do. I've been traveling the trade routes for 15 years, Hana said. I've seen a lot of different species, a lot of different ways of handling problems. What you did today, it was different. You could have destroyed all the pirate ships, but you gave them a chance to surrender. That's not how most species fight, Jiho nodded. We fight to win, but we also fight to build a better galaxy. Dead enemies can't learn to do better. On the surrendered pirate ships, the alien crews were having similar conversations. Many of them had joined the Crimson Fleet because they thought the galaxy was a place where only the strong survived. But the humans had shown them something different. Strength could be used to protect rather than just to take. Captain Zektor of the Blood Fang was talking to his second-in-command. I have fought many battles in many systems. I have seen species that were stronger than others, and species that were more clever. But I have never seen a species that was both deadly and merciful at the same time. What does it mean? His second asked. It means the galaxy just became a very different place. Science Officer Minji had finished her analysis of the battle data. Captain, I think you should see this. I've been studying how our weapons performed against alien defenses. What did you find? Our technology isn't just more advanced than theirs. It's more adaptive. Where they specialize in one type of weapon or defense, we combine multiple approaches. Our railguns, plasma cannons, and quantum torpedoes each solve different problems. And that's not even considering our biggest advantage, the way we think about problems. The aliens fought like they were trying to prove they were stronger. We fought like we were trying to solve a puzzle. Lieutenant Commander Yoonji looked up from her station. Sir, we're receiving communication requests from governments across this sector. Word about the battle is spreading fast. Captain Jiho thought about the implications. Earth had wanted to make a quiet entrance into galactic affairs, building relationships slowly and carefully. Instead, they had announced their presence by destroying the most feared pirate fleet in known space. Put through any communications from legitimate governments, but keep them brief. We have prisoners to transport and a merchant convoy to escort to safety. The first call came from the Centauri Defense Alliance, a group of peaceful species that had been terrorized by the Crimson Fleet for years. Captain Jiho, this is Admiral Kexler of the Centauri Alliance. We want to thank you for what you've done today. The Crimson Fleet has killed thousands of our people over the years. We're glad we could help, Admiral. We would like to discuss opening formal diplomatic relations with Earth. And perhaps military cooperation agreements? Captain Jiho smiled. Earth's foreign policy had just become much more complicated. I'll pass your request to Earth Defense Command, Admiral. Similar calls came from a dozen different governments. Everyone wanted to know more about this mysterious human species that could build such powerful warships but chose to follow galactic law instead of conquering everyone around them. As the Indomitable prepared to escort the rescued merchant ship and captured pirates to the nearest neutral station, Captain Jiho realized that this mission had been about much more than saving 60 human lives. It had been about showing the galaxy who humans really were, and the galaxy was paying attention. 3 weeks after the battle, Captain Hana stood in the cargo bay of the Indomitable, watching human engineers repair her ship. The Prosperity's dream was getting new armor plating and better engines, all provided by Earth Defense Command. Your ship will be stronger than ever, Chief Engineer Nari told her. We've added some defensive systems that should help if you run into trouble again. Hana shook her head in amazement. You know, in most parts of the galaxy, if someone saves your life, they expect payment or favors in return. You humans just help because you can. Nari smiled. That's what neighbors do, isn't it? But the real changes were happening far beyond the Indomitable. Across the galaxy, governments were meeting in emergency sessions to discuss the human question. The species from the little blue planet had suddenly become very important. On the bridge, Captain Jiho was reviewing reports from Earth. Admiral Suyung appeared on his communication screen, looking both pleased and worried. Jiho, I have good news and complicated news. Which do you want first? The good news, Admiral. The good news is that we've received formal diplomatic requests from 47 different governments and trading organizations. Everyone wants to be friends with Earth now. And the complicated news? The complicated news is that we've also received formal diplomatic requests from 47 different governments and trading organizations. Our diplomatic corps is completely overwhelmed, Captain Jiho laughed. I suppose destroying the most feared pirate fleet in the galaxy gets people's attention. That's not even the biggest change. 3 major trade routes have been renamed to include Earth as a destination. The Galactic Trade Federation wants to establish a permanent trading post in our solar system. And the Centauri Defense Alliance is offering us a full military partnership. On the Indomitable, the crew was learning just how much their victory had changed things. Communications Officer Young-Soo was monitoring news broadcasts from across the galaxy. Sir, you need to hear this. It's a news report from the Vega system. An alien news anchor appeared on the main screen. The creature had 3 eyes and spoke in a high-pitched voice. Today marks 3 weeks since the Battle of Kepler 442b, where a single Earth warship destroyed the Crimson Fleet. Governments across the galaxy are still trying to understand how this small human species developed such advanced military technology. The report continued with interviews from various alien military experts. Most admitted they had underestimated humans badly. We thought they were just another primitive species from the Outer Rim, said one alien general. We were wrong. Very wrong? Lieutenant Commander Yunji was studying reports about piracy in the region. Sir, this is interesting. Pirate attacks in this entire sector have dropped by 70% since our battle. Why? Captain Jiho asked. Word has spread that Earth is now patrolling the trade routes. Most pirates don't want to risk meeting us. This was exactly what Admiral Suyung had hoped for. One successful battle had created a reputation that was preventing dozens of future battles. Medical Officer Hyunwoo finished his final examination of the former pirate prisoners. Captain, the alien prisoners are ready for transfer to the neutral station. I have to say, treating them has been educational. How so? They keep asking why we're healing their injuries instead of torturing them for information. Several have volunteered to provide intelligence about other pirate groups just because we treated them fairly. This was becoming a pattern. Throughout the galaxy, species were learning that humans approached problems differently than anyone else. They combined advanced technology with old ideas about honor and fairness. Science Officer Minji had spent weeks studying the captured alien technology. Captain, I've finished my analysis of the pirate ship systems. Their technology is actually quite sophisticated, but it's designed around completely different principles than ours. Explain. They build their ships to overpower enemies through brute force, bigger guns, thicker armor, more ships. We build our ships to outthink enemies, better targeting, more efficient weapons, smarter tactics. And that makes us more effective? Much more effective. But there's something else. I've been analyzing galactic military history. Most species fight the same way they've always fought. They improve their technology but keep the same basic strategies. Humans are the only species that constantly changes how they fight. Captain Jiho nodded. This was what made humans dangerous to their enemies and valuable to their allies. They adapted faster than anyone else. The Indomitable arrived at the neutral trading station of Port Harmony, a massive space structure that served as a meeting place for dozens of different species. Captain Jiho had never seen so many alien ships in one place. "Sir," Young-Soo reported, "the station commander is requesting permission to come aboard. He says it's an honor to meet the crew that defeated the Crimson Fleet." The station commander was a dignified alien with silver skin and kind eyes. He represented the Neutral Trade Authority, which tried to keep peace between different species. "Captain Jiho," the commander said, "I am Commander Velthar. I want to thank you personally for what you did. The Crimson Fleet has been terrorizing traders for years. Many of my people are alive today because of your actions." "We were just doing our job, Commander." "Perhaps. But the way you did it, that was special. You could have simply destroyed all the pirate ships. Instead, you gave them a chance to surrender. Those who accepted your mercy are now providing information about other criminal organizations." This was having effects that Captain Jiho had never expected. The captured pirates were helping authorities across the galaxy arrest other criminals. They did it because they were grateful to be alive, and because they had seen that the galaxy might be becoming a place where honor mattered more than simple strength. As the pirate prisoners were transferred to Port Harmony's security forces, Captain Jiho watched through the viewports. The aliens moved slowly, still amazed that they were alive. Under the old rules of the galaxy, they would have been killed immediately after being captured. "Captain," Lieutenant Commander Yunji said quietly, "I've been thinking about what we've accomplished here." "What do you mean?" "We didn't just rescue a merchant ship or destroy a pirate fleet. We showed the galaxy a different way of doing things. Other species are going to start copying our methods." She was right. Reports were already coming in from across the galaxy about military forces that were studying human tactics. Some were trying to build their own railgun systems. Others were experimenting with kinetic weapons and adaptive armor. But the most important change was in how species thought about conflict. The idea that you could be both strong and merciful was spreading like wildfire through galactic civilization, Admiral Soo-Young called with new orders. "Jiho, Earth Defense Command wants the Indomitable to begin regular patrols of the major trade routes. You're going to be our ambassador to the galaxy, whether you like it or not." "Understood, Admiral. What are our rules of engagement?" "Same as always. Protect human civilians, help allies when possible, and show the galaxy that Earth is a species that can be trusted." "And if we encounter hostile forces?" Admiral Soo-Young's smile was not entirely friendly. "Show them what happened to the Crimson Fleet." As the Indomitable prepared to leave Port Harmony, Captain Jiho received one final message. It was from Captain Hana, whose ship was now fully repaired and ready to resume trading. "Captain Jiho, I wanted to thank you one more time before you leave. You saved our lives, but you did something more important than that. You showed the galaxy that there are still species who believe in doing the right thing. Just remember, Captain Hana, you're not alone out here anymore. Earth is watching the trade routes now." The Indomitable left Port Harmony and jumped into hyperspace, beginning its new mission as humanity's representative to the galaxy. Behind them, they left a changed universe. Across thousands of worlds, alien governments were writing new policies about how to deal with humans. Trade organizations were planning new routes that would bring them closer to Earth. Military academies were adding courses about human tactics to their training programs. In the dark corners of space where criminals gathered, pirates and slavers spoke in whispers about the black ship from Earth that could appear anywhere and destroy entire fleets. But in the peaceful trading posts and civilian colonies, beings from dozens of species told stories about the humans who risked their lives to protect strangers, who showed mercy to defeated enemies, and who were building a galaxy where strength served justice instead of greed. Captain Jiho stood on the bridge of his ship and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, human colonists were building new homes on distant worlds. Human traders were making friends with alien merchants. Human diplomats were negotiating treaties that would keep peace for generations. And when any of them were threatened, they would call for help. And Earth would answer. The warning had been sent to every corner of the galaxy. Incoming Earth's battlecruiser. The galaxy had learned to listen.